Hi, my name is Cassandra. We're here with real estate agent Dan Callis, and today we're going to talk about selling an estate home.
Yes.
So, tell me, what is a probate?
And a probate specifically means that you had to go in front of court to get approved as the personal rep or the trustee. Administer the will based upon the guidelines. Whatever's stipulated in the will, they have to follow.
Gotcha. Are there any legal requirements that need to be met?
Well, the main legal requirement about selling a house is that you have to actually prove that you have the ability to sell the house, and that's done by a domiciliary letter, a personal rep letter. As far as legal requirements, that's an attorney question.
How does it affect the home selling process?
Well, the home selling process really gets affected in the sense of what that person thinks needs to be done or not done in selling the home, and whether or not they have the right to sell the home. That's why the personal rep letter is really important. And then when it comes down to what needs to be done, that's where we come in and help.
Who can sign the listing agreement?
I'm the listing agreement. In fact, you could sign the listing agreement for a property that you don't even own. But the thing is, if the home sells, you're on the hook for the commission. So it's important that the person that signs the listing agreement realizes that they're authorizing themselves to be on the hook for the commission.
Interesting. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Who can sign the contract to purchase?
Now, the offer to purchase is a little bit different. The authority, the person that actually has the ability to sell the property, is the person that needs to be on there. So, for instance, a personal rep has the authority to sell the property if it's stipulated by the court, or the trustee has the ability to sell based upon the trust paperwork. And if you owned your own home, you could sell your place and write on the contract.
Now, do I fill out a condition report?
As a personal rep, the state of Wisconsin says that you are required to fill out one of two things. Number one, a condition report if you've ever lived in the property, and it doesn't matter if you lived there even 40 years ago, we're supposed to get you to fill it out. There's a seller refusal to sign a condition report, and there's some itemized reasons why a seller doesn't want to fill one out, and most of the time, the attorney, if we're dealing with an attorney, doesn't want them to fill out a condition report. So we have that up. We have that seller refusal form.
Gotcha. What does it mean if I sell it as is?
Yeah, a lot of people think selling it as is means that a person just comes in and they buy it and they don't do any due diligence. The fact is, and I'm not an attorney, so take this with a grain of salt, selling as is means that you're not making any representations or warranties on the property. It just means that, hey, I don't know anything about the place. Do your due diligence, inspect the property, figure it out yourself, and determine whether or not you want to buy it. But after the closing, hands off. I don't know what's going on.
What are buyers' expectations when buying an estate?
Well, it goes back to that condition report. It goes back to the way that it's marketed. So for instance, if you go really high in a price and the home needs a lot of work, that buyer is gonna have a real uncomfortable time saying, yeah, I want to give you that money. Buyer's expectation when they're buying a home that's being sold as is or by a personal rep means that they're taking on a risk and they want to be compensated for it.
What if there's a loan on the property?
That's the great thing. Title company, we work with hand in hand to make sure that that loan actually gets paid off. Where we get in trouble, and need to be aware when selling an estate property, that if you have a loan on the property and you're the personal rep, there may be a clause in the loan that says that the bank can take over the property. So you want to make sure that you are doing your due diligence, talk to an attorney, and most of the time, just pay the mortgage and get the home sold so you don't have to deal with the bank.
Should I pay the taxes?
The taxes will be paid at the time of closing. So there's no real reason for you to worry about it, because when the property gets sold, the responsibility of the title company is really to ensure that anything that's attached to the property gets paid off so that the title can be free and clear and transferred over to that new buyer.
That makes sense. Okay, let's talk about the 3 different options that we have when selling a home. Option 1, sell the home as is, don't empty it, clean it, or fix it.
Yeah, that's an option that a lot of people get approached with via phone calls or mail, email, whatever the case is. There's a lot of investors out there that want to work with sellers that are probates. But here's the deal. Most of the time, those buyers are looking to get such a good deal because they got to pay everyone. If someone's reaching out to you and wants to buy the home, essentially what that means is that they have a business, and they have a business that does a good job. However, that business can't afford to pay you the homeowner premium dollar. So they may pay you 50 cents on the dollar, 60 cents, and it's just a matter of whether or not you want to go through that hassle.
Okay, option 2, sell the home emptied and cleaned.
Yep, option 2, you can definitely do that. You can sell it. A lot of the times, depending on where you're at price-wise, buyers will say, oh, you know, just leave the stuff in there if it's not like just a complete sty of a home. So you can empty it, you can clean it, but when we're talking about cleaning it, we're talking about sweeping it, not like washing down the walls, washing down the covers, because that's what you would do if you would do option 3. But option 2, you're just cleaning it out. You're making it look good.
Okay, talking to option 3.
Yeah, option 3, a lot of sellers think that that's actually where they have to go, and the reality is they don't, unless you have the time, the energy, the equity, and the wherewithal to do everything. Because as you look at estate property, most of the time, it hasn't been touched for 20 years, 30 years maybe, even 40. So if you're going to do one thing, you might as well do everything, because that one thing doesn't look as shiny as you think, because now it makes everything else
look awful.
Exactly.
So if I needed to do the bathroom and the kitchen and the basement and the bedrooms, but I only chose to do the bathroom, it makes everything else look worse.
Yeah, because now all of a sudden the eye's drawn to the shininess, and then they go, oh, wait a minute, why didn't they do the rest? So it's almost counterintuitive. So you want to make sure that if you do option 3, do it all the way. Great. But in the end, there's no guarantee that you'll get the money. Mm-hmm. And here's what we know about projects. It's always double the time, double the money, and double the headache.
Yeah. Okay, so talk me through our 3 different options that we have when selling an estate home. Option 1, sell the home as is, don't empty it, clean it, or fix it.
Yeah, that's an option that a lot of sellers like to choose, and that's really where we come in, because what happens is there are people that are reaching out to them on a regular basis, trying to buy their property. Well, they're an investor, and if they're spending the money to go out and find a buyer, if they're spending the money to go out and find that seller to buy their home, they're not going to pay you that much. And the difference, and we just did it this week, is someone came in, they offered X amount of dollars, and I met with the seller and I said, hey, I really think that we can get you a lot more money. And they said, how much? I said, well, in this price range, I'm thinking we can probably get you 20% more. And so we put the home on the market, and within 36 hours, and mind you, the market's not like on fire like it was. Within 36 hours, we had over 30 showings. I personally showed the property 5 times. We had multiple offers, and it ended up selling for 20% more than when that one person said they'd get you. And we only charged 6%.